Hey y'all, welcome to another installment of That's So Yet. I'm your hostess, Vanessa, and today we're going to be talking about more dialects. Now, before I start, I want to get into something about dialects. We have many neighborhoods in the New Orleans area and down in the St. Bernard. So what happens is when there's a dialect or a certain saying in one neighborhood, things can change from neighborhood to neighborhood. So you'll have one neighborhood that says something very localized, and then you just hop across the tracks to the next neighborhood, and they will say something completely different, or they'll look at you and go, "What are you saying? I don't understand. I have never heard this before." So some things I say, other people in New Orleans may not have ever heard before, or into St. Bernard, West Bank, even into Metairie, because people kind of dispersed out from there. So let's get into it. The first one, you're not going to see it from Canal Street. My grandma and my mom grew up saying that. My mom's side of the family was mostly from the Bywater area. My dad's family pretty much grew up around Lower Ninth, down the road. My mom's side of the family also grew up a lot in the Marigny too. They moved a lot because it was the Great Depression at the time. So, the first one that I heard from my mom's side, from the Bywater, was you're not going to see it from Canal Street. What this means is if you have something really teeny tiny and insignificant that you're going to fuss over and make a big deal out of it, but nobody else is going to notice, people will tell you, "Oh, don't worry about it. You're not going to see it from Canal Street." Now, when I was getting dressed before I made this video, I realized I have two examples right here. The shirt that I'm wearing, a piece of Velcro fell on it and it snagged it. You can see right here, got a little snag right there. Nobody is going to see that unless you point it out to them. And city deals with Canal Street is you have two streetcars, and then you have a little sidewalk, and then you have 3 lanes of traffic, and then a big wide sidewalk, and then you have the big storefronts. And the thing is, Canal Street was the place to go shopping. You dressed to the nines back then just to go shopping on Canal Street. They had all the big retail stores, the big display windows, and when you have something in these big display windows, if you're riding the streetcar, are you really going to see a little snag or a little string hanging off somewhere all the way in those display windows that far away? No. And that's why we say you're not going to see it from Canal Street. So if you have one hair out of place, or you're putting on your false lashes and you got one of them that's kind of sticking out, don't worry about it. Nobody's going to make a fuss over it. The second one, the stomach's touching the backbone. That means you are really hungry. This one I find is most popular and probably originated around the Ninth Ward area, probably Lower Ninth. And if you're really hungry, your stomach's all sunken and it's like, "Oh, I'm so hungry, my stomach's touching my backbone, I gotta eat." We had somebody that I worked with, and they were from a different area, and they said they had never heard that before. And my coworker and I looked at each other and we're like, "Really? We say that all the time." So there's another example of, all because one neighborhood says this doesn't mean the other neighborhoods are going to know anything about it. The next one, banya. I've actually heard other people use this, but it's not really a widespread one, so I don't know where this one originated. I don't even know the origin of this, but banya is a verb. When I was growing up, it would be the grandma, all the aunts, mom, and my sisters. So 3 generations of women sitting around a table, a spread full of Mackenzie's pastries, and we would all have our coffee and sit around and talk, like women do, on a Saturday, Sunday. And when you take your pastries or anything and you dunk it in your coffee, or dunk it in anything, cookies and milk, we say, "We're going to banya. This means to dunk. Also, banya can mean at the end of your meal when you have something with a lot of gravy, you take a piece of French bread and you just wipe it in your plate, sop up the gravy, say, "Well, no, don't pick up my plate. I'm gonna save it. Give me some bread. I'm gonna banya banya. Basically, just to dunk bread. To dunk. Banya banya. Okay, the next one. Make dodo. We say this all the time to kids when you want them to go to sleep. Say, okay, come on, let's go make dodo. It's like, come on, go to bed, go to sleep. This comes from the French. There used to be all-night parties called feidodos, and I guess this might originate from wanting the kids go to sleep so that the parents can have their all-night festival, dancing, singing without the kids running around. Maybe they did have kids there. I don't know. You'll have to do some research on that one. I am really not clear on the full of feidodos because I've never been to one. But it does mean to go to sleep, and it's usually told to the kids when you want them to go to bed. Let's go make dodo. And also, making dodo, a lot of our sayings down here come from the French word to make or to do, and I don't know French. Despite my grandparents, well, my grandpa being pure French and he knew it fluently, I just never learned. I digress. They say to make, to do, and we'll say a lot of those things. Let's go make dodo. Let's go make groceries. And making groceries, that's another thing we say here. I don't personally say it, but a lot of people here say, I'm gonna go make groceries. And that just means I'm gonna go grocery shopping. Another one I heard that I learned from my grandma's side, my mom's side, was the air is close. Now, she used to use it in a different way than what I hear other people using it. So this might be one of those sayings where it's the same saying, but it means different things depending upon where you're from. The way my grandma and great-grandma used to use it is when the air is close. You know how when it's cold and it's at nighttime and you can hear sounds from really far away, just kind of carrying on the air? They say the air is close because it brings things far away and makes it sound like it's closer to you. I have heard people from other areas use the term the air is close, like when it's muggy, or you go outside and it's damp like fog. It's like the air it hugs you and sticks to you. Could be like a cool, damp night, could be a hot, muggy night. So, one phrase, multiple meanings, depend upon where you are. The next one, making buttonholes. To make buttonholes means you are extremely antsy and you just have the constant squirms because you want to get somewhere and you're waiting on somebody else. And so you're sitting here in a chair and you're like, oh, hurry up, we gotta leave. Come on, we're supposed to be there already. God, what's taking so long? And then you hear the person in the other room going, stop making buttonholes, I'll be out there in a minute. So, to make buttonholes means you're squirming a lot in your chair because you're antsy, you want to go, and from squirming around so much, you're eventually going to wear holes in the butt of your pants, big enough to where you can slip a button through. This last segment right here is something that's funny about down here. We get extremely specific about things. For instance, most places everywhere else calls it an inspection sticker. We call it a brake tag. When you go in to get your car looked at and everything so you can get your little sticker and be all legal on the road, apparently down here the brakes are the only thing that matters. Lights, everything else, tires, no. Windshield cracked, nah, I don't care, just as long as your brakes work, because it's a brake tag. I don't know. I mean, they do inspect everything, supposedly, but a brake tag. The other thing we get really specific about is the light bill. No matter all the 1,000,001 other electronic devices and appliances that run off of electricity in your house, No, we're only going to call it the light bill because the light bill is apparently the only thing you pay for. Not really, but that goes back to the days, I get my timeline mixed up. I forgot if it's like the late 1800s, had to have been, and that's when electricity was a household thing. It became, everybody had electricity available. And the only thing the electricity ran were the lights. So whenever you paid the electric bill, you just were essentially paying for the lights, because that's the only thing you had to pay electricity for. And throughout time, other things became electrified, and you could plug everything in outlets. But everybody still calls it the light bill. My grandma always called it the light bill. I sometimes catch myself still calling it the light bill. And I know a lot of people here call it the light bill. Well, I hope y'all had fun and y'all learned a little something. If there's anything else y'all would like for me to cover, just let me know. If there's anything I missed, any crazy little sayings that we say down here that you want me to include, I can put that in maybe another video. If y'all want to hear stories or just experiences of what goes on down here, comment below, let me know what y'all want, and I'll see if I can put together another video for you. In the meantime, see y'all!